Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of the Review with Heather's Passion Academy. And I am Heather of Heather's Passion Academy. And today we are reviewing Family Empire, and that is a new show on OWN. This is its first season, and it is following the Braden family in Houston, Texas. Again, this show I'm very excited about because it's following a family business and how uh, those family ties can sometimes muddy up the business of it all, but they seem to still be able to do everything well and not fall apart. So, having said that, let's get straight into it. On last episode, we know that there was a little tete-a-tete or little not even tension happening between Nicole and the Jays. I call them the Jays because they're sisters. It's Jaquita and Jermisha. Over at uh, Jaquita's house, they had a crab boil, and Nicole was not happy because they were making. She felt like they were making fun of the fact that she and Lakeshia, who is her half sister, have a little bit of a wall or a little bit of tension between them just due to them being in different households and whatever else they have going on in the background. So she kind of bowed out of that. And that's where we left it last episode. So this episode, again, we're talking about what's happening now. So we start the episode with Nicole at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting her hair done for the day. Now, let me just say, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. She's starting her day. I think that's amazing. Would I do it? Absolutely not. I don't have a desire to wake up that early and especially to get my day started. Like if I can start my business round about, 10:30, that'd be great. But I have a lot of respect for people who can get up before the chickens and get their day started. And I guess you have to do that, depending on the type of business that you have. But she says she likes to start her day with her getting ready and getting her mind together. As we all know, her husband works weird overnight shifts, and I guess this is a way for her to kind of see him in the morning too, because he works overnight. And he comes home first thing in the morning, so it's kind of a way for her to do that. But anyway, her stylist comes in, to get her ready for the day, and even she said them 4 o'clock mornings be bothering her sometimes. And she's like, how come you just can't have no breakfast for me? And Nicole looking like, what? No, ma'am. I think it's funny because she said her stylist is being extra, but having someone come to your house at 4 o'clock in the morning just to curl your hair is pretty extra because I'm pretty sure you could have just put a cap on to conduct business from your home office. But that's just what they can do. They can joke back and forth because they are friends. So, but child, I ain't getting up. I don't care if I'm a stylist or not, and that's my business. I won't be getting up that early to be doing nothing. You hear me? Nothing. Anyway, after she leaves, Nicole is already has started her day. She's on a call with her assistant. She likes her assistant. You know why? Because she said her assistant is just like her. But again, I can't do nothing because I'm gonna be keeping banker's hours because there ain't no way I'm gonna be conducting business before the crack of dawn. I just don't understand that. But again, that's how she handles business, and that's how the people that she works with work with her. So, kudos. Her husband Larry comes in at 6:22 a.m. She is already meeting with her assistant as he walks in the door. 6:22, and her day she probably about an hour or so into her day. Um, so that means that he's coming in, and they talk about having the challenges of being two shifts passing in the night. And I know that those overnight shifts sometimes are challenging for couples because one is coming in for the day and the other one's and getting ready to wind down. The other person is getting their day started and getting ready to leave. So I'm sure there are a lot of events and milestones he's missed by working that shift. But I think Larry really likes what he's doing. So I don't foresee that changing for them. And I think this has been a point of contention for them in their relationship, because they show that, they've had, problems with communications and everything. um, and he works 12 plus hour shifts. And from what I'm understanding here, at this point, he's doing even tougher shifts. It stretches. I forgot what he does. I don't think they said what he do, but he got a job. That's all I know. I just know from experience when my husband used to work overnight shifts, there were times that it took a toll because a lot of times, yes, he was available during the day if he got a nap in, and so he can do stuff with the kids at school. But then he had to come home and go to sleep and get ready for work in the evening. So it was a little tough. I'm glad he ain't working them shifts no more because they're also bad on your health. Um, but like I said, hopefully they'll work all this stuff through. Larry likes what he's doing, so I don't see him quitting. Um, my husband just left the industry altogether, so he's not even working in that capacity anymore. He does a totally different line of work now, so that helps. But as far as getting their communication together, I feel like they will. So she does talk to him though, because she said he is her confidant, and I love to see that she's the reason why she misses him is because she doesn't have the person to confide in. So they talk a little bit about the conversation that she had with the cousins about the tension between her and Lakeisha. And she was talking about how they was telling her the wall is up, this and that. And he wants to know what's going to be the solution to this. And she says, well, she let them know that hurt her feelings. And I think Nicole is just a person that does not like to show her feelings. So when her feelings hurt, she just gonna shut down and leave because she ain't gonna show you that she gonna be crying and stuff. Um, but she is going to reach out to Lakeisha so that the two of them can have a conversation away from the other sisters, and so they can move their relationship forward. And I like the fact that he's there to hear her out. He ain't over talking, he just listening to her, and she just wanted someone to listen to her. And by the way, before I switch these slides, those pulls on those drawers and the cabinets in her kitchen, I really like that. I think I might do that. I think Imma change out some stuff in my kitchen because I got an all white kitchen, and I ain't fond of that, but I like the gold. We're gonna move on. In the next scene, Jermisha is at the, event facility to help Granny and her mom set up for the next event. Now they have I guess a banquet hall, and they were setting it up, and Granny has had a stroke, and I don't think nobody told her that she ain't supposed to be doing half the stuff that she doing, but she doing it, and I love that because you can tell she has been used to doing things, and ain't no health stuff gonna stop her today. Anyway, so she was just, giving accolades again. She came to help them out, but also to kind of get a feel about how Granny feeling about this land. So she's talking to her about how she sees the legacy for this 2-acre plot of land that they have, how much she admires her for her hustle. So she wants to talk more about legacy. Um, And then she also was just saying how, Oscarine has a lot of hustle in her. So when she was acquiring land and building her portfolio, she said she used to go out and look for land and everything. She used to pull the for sale signs up to keep people from buying properties so that, she can get a chance to put her bid in first. And that's just funny to me because she was like, nah, this is what I want. This is what we getting. So she wanted to Jermisha wanted to know, though, if she is still planning to sell. She really wants to sell. Oscarine wants to sell because she wants to make sure that her 5 children are set, and not necessarily an inheritance. She want to go ahead and do it while she is here. So she don't want to wait because I think she's 86, so or something like that. So she just want to go ahead and make sure everything is cool. So Jamisha is letting her know that, she just feels like they shouldn't sell because of all the history of people, black people owning land and doing things. And she sees the legacy and she's like, granddaddy, was talking about, sharecropping and things like that, and how it was tough for people to own land. People used to have cash in order to own land. So it's just something close to her heart. And she wants to see it being developed so that there's continuous money throughout the family and everything. Um, and so the thing about it, and Oscarine says she may go and hold on to it just because, she was talking about developing the land and everything. But I think that what's bothering her, like they were saying, is that the tax bill on the land is like $34,000. So I'm like, well, why don't y'all just help her pay on it then if you want to keep it in the family? I don't know if they're gonna do that or not. It's just something I was just thinking about. Um, and so Jamisha is just she is laying it on thick. She like, Granny, just don't do the thing. Granny still might do the thing because she's a shrewd businesswoman. So Nicole, over at her house, she sends a message out to the Jays as well as Nikki, Monet, and Lakeisha to come over to her house for a girls' night in. Um, you know, they are going to see a stretch therapist. I like to see them doing things together. I think it's very important to see families not only, be related, but also do things together and have a good time and appreciate, spending time with each other. And this is what I'm really loving this so far. So, um, she is at her house, just, again, letting everybody know, let's just go and get this together. And it's funny because the scene is showing how everybody is responding, but everybody is down for this meeting. So yay. So this is Lakeisha talking to Caramel, which is her girlfriend, about the message that she received regarding the girls' night with the cousins and sisters. And Caramel asked her, do you think it's gonna be another ambush? Because she feels like she got ambushed as far as the sisters talking about the wall being up. Um, and she says, well, she plans on having a conversation with Nicole prior to the girls' night so that they could kind of just be on the same page. They, and both of them were saying they were a little closer when they were kids, so they're not really sure where the disconnect happens um as they became older. And they actually didn't even meet each other till they're about 7 or 8 years old, but they're still not really understanding what happens. But what they're going to stop doing is sweeping things under the rug and go ahead and address the issues. Now, if you want my opinion, I think that a lot of times when you have kids that are, you know like she's a half sister and everything. I think a lot of that has to do with the adults in the situation. And we'll see more about their conversation later, what they think as well. But I think a lot of that tension starts with the adults in the situation. Okay, but over there back at the Enchanted Courtyard, that's the event facility. Nikki comes in. She's the youngest of the G1s and she works with the G2s. So I feel like she's closer in age to them. We haven't figured out how old she is. I know that Nicole and Jermisha and all them are like 40, or right at 40. So in my mind, I feel like Nikki's probably an early 50. And I'm just saying it, I don't know how old she is. She could be a late 40, early 50, reason why she tends to hang with them as much. I just know, as the youngest of a large family myself, and I have siblings significantly older than me, sometimes my nieces and nephews, I have nieces and nephews older than me, but for the most part, I'm like, 15, 17 years older than most of them. So I'm kind of like an older cousin and, less like an aunt, but more so like an older cousin. So I get that being in between the generations, and it makes things a little difficult sometimes because it just does. So she's going over there, and she's hanging out with Cheryl and Charlotte, and they're getting a banquet hall together for yet another event. Child, they just stay busy. I love it. They sit down to discuss the properties that Oscarine owns, just kind of going over some of the things. Again, they're at a point where they need to be managing some of the things for her as she's getting a little older, a little up in age. Um, and so they sit down for a bit to discuss some things, especially that 2-acre lot that's being the largest tax debt for her. And so Nikki wants to let them know that the G2s would like to purchase the 2-acre lot, but she also wants to know where they're at because again, she works with everybody. Um, so the ladies uh say that that's not what they thought they were supposed to be doing. They said it's supposed to be sold off to pay off their houses, and their portfolio should be for the G1's legacy first. Then they pass it down to the G2s, but they feel like the G2s are really, crimping their style, doing too much. Um, and so they were like, well, what if they, what if they buy it? And Charlotte was like, I don't want to sell it to them either. I don't want to do any of that. And they said, well, what about a little discount? She's like, no, fair market value, because our mama don't give discounts. And they was like, well, what about a little bit of discount? They was like 1,000 off. Like, they are serious. They don't want to give them grandkids nothing, baby. Nothing. Nothing. They want their stuff paid off. And I get that. And I think that there's going to have to just be a sit down conversation amongst everyone to see how this can be beneficial for the family instead of just one or two facets of the family. I don't know. Nikki is feeling stuck, of course, because she's a G1, but she relates to the G2s. And, I'm just wondering what's going to happen, because maybe they can just develop it together as a family so they can all benefit from it. I don't know. We're going to see. So we back here at Nicole's house, who is um, thanking Laquita for her apology gift for sending her some cookies and everything. And, but she did let her know that, even though you'd have made me mad or whatever, Lakeisha is coming over and we're going to be talking. And Laquita said, oh, well, that is great. I'm glad that you guys are going to get to talk and maybe y'all can get to the bottom of things. So Lakeisha comes in and they seem to be greeting each other. They got a little wine, a little bubbly. They finna be a little happy and talk a little. And I think sometimes you need a little liquor to, whatever your speed is, to talk about some things. So they're there and talking about why this wall has gone up. They talk about how they grew up differently. Lakeisha says she did feel left out a lot, and perhaps the adults in the situation muddied up their line of communication. I feel that way. I feel like when the kids don't get along, it's the adults. Nicole says to Lakeisha she feels guilty sometimes because uh she seemingly grew up with a better life. And Keisha was quick to let her know, like, you know, don't feel that way because I grew up, with a lot of love. But her problem was, why did she grow up to, why was she always having a problem with people picking on her? And so at this point, we don't know what's going on with the two of them as far as like what the dynamic is between uh, their mothers and their dad. I know they are close in age. They are only months apart. So that can't be, you know. Anyway, so they talk about how their dad has a lack of emotion and everything, and how that affects them. He was a good provider, they say, but the emotional component, they just didn't see it. Nicole said he did express some kind of emotion once their grandfather died, just thanking her for taking care of him. Um, and it's just, I think that both of them could have benefited from more emotional input from their father. Sounds like he took care of them financially, but that was it. And, and that a lot of times with fathers and men, they think that financially taking care of their families is all they need to do to, say that they're good. But, we need the emotional component as well, because we need to see that love comes um in different ways, not just financial, but we need hugs, we need kisses, we need some how was your day, or this is how it made me feel, so that you don't end up stifling your own emotions. So when we see that parents are emotionally involved, it helps to make better kids. And then also he could have bridged the gap better for the two of them And, it took, their Aunt Jackie stepping in basically to bring Lakeisha around everyone. So, there were some missteps. So there are ways that they can fix that. So, but after the conversation, they did agree that they um, are glad to be moving forward. Their hearts are happy, their hearts at peace, and they can really work on building from that. So I'm glad for them. So them two sisters right there, the two J's, are talking about the conversation that Jermisha had with Oscarine and said that she may be open to keeping the land. And they come up with a plan to develop the property to present to Oscarine and the G1s to decide. And I guess they're going to decide to, you know, whether she's going to keep the property or not. The G1 is going to ultimately help make that decision. So their whole thing now is to get the G2s on board so that Nikki uh can present their ideas to, again, Nikki kind of doing double duty. She like a double agent. So they're trying to get their stuff together so that, you know, it's clear cut, everybody's on board, everybody's on the same page, and they can move forward with that situation as far as the land is concerned. Now, over at Jaquita's place, she and Chris are discussing some things while she's packing for her girls' trip. Look, let me tell you something. Jaquita look like she gonna have fun and go on every trip she can come up with. And I ain't mad at her. She seemed like the fun person, except just don't give her more than 2 drinks. That's what everybody say. She can't hold her liquor worth nothing. But she just seemed like she'd be a fun person to hang with. So she and Chris have a conversation about him receiving a contract. He was saying he hadn't received a contract from Jamisha and Nicole as of yet, and he's growing tired of waiting because it's holding up his business outside of the firm because he does take on other clients and does headshots for other realtors and things like that. Jaquita be trying to stay out of it because she like, this ain't my business, but she understands where he's coming from, but she also understands where the ladies are coming from, but she really does not want to be in the middle. She doesn't want to take sides. Now he said if they can't get it together, he's gonna be taking his business elsewhere. I don't think she agreeing with that. I just don't think she agrees with that. So Nicole and Larry are at the house. They are getting ready for girls' night. He's getting ready for fellas hangout. And he rarely gets to do that due to his schedule. So he doesn't really hang out with the fellas as often. Nicole says this will be the first time all the ladies will be hanging out since she and Lakeisha had their conversation. And she did see a lot of progress where Lakeisha did bring the wall down a little bit. But of course, everything still requires a little bit more work. Larry says he's not sure what he and the fellas will be talking about, probably about them sister wives, since they all married to strong braiding women. What I like to see though is that we're not seeing the guys complaining that the ladies are close. They just know it's like you just got to know what you're getting into. Because a lot of guys come into families, they come in as husbands, they try to bust up all the Sicily bun. It's too many women in that family to be trying to break them up. So they just gonna have to get right or get left. That's how it's gonna be. Um, so the ladies are coming over to Nicole's for this stretch therapy. Monet's answering the door, and child, she saw this stretch therapist, and she was like, "Listen, I heard stretching is good before sex. Is that true?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Are you married?" And he said, "Yeah." Like, let me go ahead and this ain't that, ma'am. Nicole over there talking about she gonna have to help Monet find her a good man. Nicole, Monet don't want a good man. She's that ain't she ain't ready for Monet looking for something else. Not the good man part, yeah. So the ladies all get there, they're all gathered up, they getting ready to lay out on these tables and get scratched out, honey. It was just nice to see all them come together with their little stretch outfits on. They all moaning and groaning over there trying to get everything together. They said some of y'all sound like y'all in childbirth. This man is jumping on them like it's WWE up in there. I'm talking about it's some good stretching happening, legs getting pulled here and there. They they don't waste no time on none of that. They just stretching away. So while they over there getting stretched, the husbands are getting together and they having drinks and they talking good stuff about the ladies. Again, you don't hear a whole lot of negative happening with those husbands. They just, talk about being part of the Braden family and being and having strong wives and everything. Now the ladies are sitting down having a after having a successful session with the stretch therapist, and Nikki wants to update them on what's going on as far as the land situation with the G1s. Again, she just, she lets them know that they don't really want to sell to the G2s. And the thing with Nikki is she really does feel like as she say, a G 1.5, 1.5, because she's kind of in the middle. So she gets why um the ladies want to purchase the land, but she's just letting them know right now this is not what they're feeling. So Jamisha pushes back and says that this is not the conversation she had with Granny. She said that her understanding was that she was holding off on selling the land so that they can present a plan to her. But Nikki tells her you have your work cut out for you. But ultimately she's only gonna listen to them three older sisters. Because again, Nikki's kind of the youngest, so she sometimes gets not listened to. So Jamisha tells the group about an event that she's having called Brunch with the Brokers. And they are going to, kind of talk to people in the community and help them out with different questions, future homeowners may have. And I love that because again, there's a community component to their business as well, where they want to help other people achieve that level of um, home ownership and legacy. So I love that for them. So Nikki asked Lakeisha, is she going to be interested in attending? And she says yes. And actually, she did want to attend a homeowners class they put on as well. And so the conversation was like, um, so y'all looking at purchasing the property together? And she was like, yeah. And they were asking her what was the trajectory of the relationship, if that's where they're headed as far as her and Caramel is concerned. And um so they were like, are y'all is marriage and if we not prying too much, is marriage a thing? Are y'all talking about that? And she let them know, she let Jaquita and all them know that marriage is in the works. So that's something that they're building to. They don't know when, but it's something that's a desire. So she wants to move forward with that. Now, I thought it was funny that all of them were like, listen, keep your money separate. And Monet was like, "So do you guys share bank accounts?" And everybody looked at her like, "Huh? You say what now? Do we do what?" And so a lot of the ladies was like, "You no." They said they'll do anything for love, but they ain't gonna do that. So, you know, they said that you shouldn't let anybody know how much money you get. Listen, y'all got some. I guess when you have money to speak of, that you do things like that. You have to protect your assets and things, and that's cool. I do like that they have that conversation as well. So back at fellas night, they talked to Chris about this contract situation, and he said most of the time, if there's an issue, he ends up talking to Jermisha instead of Nicole. And Larry was like, Jermisha's more easygoing than his wife, so I can see that. And he lets him know, you do have to set boundaries with her or things can go left real quick. So Chris says, well, she be calling at 5 o'clock in the morning. Jermisha husband, I don't know what his name is, to be honest. I can't remember. And I forgot to look. Anyway, he says, but you don't never answer your phone. Now, here's the thing. If she calling at 5 a.m., I'm with him on not answering that phone. Can you call me at 8:30? Just I don't know. But he says there's an issue with him not showing up. So there's a few things in play. They're saying that he'll have an a date or a event that they're supposed to show up to when it comes to photos or anything like that. He may plan something, but he doesn't follow through. So there's a lot of lack of following through that's happening. And Larry was like, "Y'all, this is why I'm gonna stay at my job. Y'all doing too much." And I'm thinking sometimes, things don't work out for families because sometimes you're just not meant to work together. I don't think that this is his ministry to work with them full time. So I don't know. I don't know. So then they were like asking, Lakeisha had asked, what has Chris been up to since the photo shoot? And Laquita said, well, he been working with other clients. And Nikki said, is he still a braiding? I'm like, y'all are shady. And she was like, I mean, yeah. So Nicole says that, there needs to be a contract with just in place with roles, responsibilities, and deliverable. And I'm wondering how come they haven't done that as of yet. You know what I mean? Like, is that something that they just kind of been holding back on? And then Laquita lets them know, for the record, she won't be sharing any of what they discuss. And Nicole says, we just be looking out for you because, we're gonna always be your family, but he ain't gonna always he may not always be your husband. Nicole just be talking, and I mean, Laquita didn't get her feelings hurt about this, or Jaquita didn't get her feelings hurt about this, so she understood where she was coming from with that. But it's just them having those types of conversations, just letting them know this is where we're coming from. So the guys back over here at the guys thing, they toast to what they call surviving the Bradens, and that's where the episode ends. So next episode, we're going to see what comes of the plans of the land, and maybe see if the family can come together on what to do with those 2 acres. Because one thing about it, I just don't want anybody to be, and they don't want anything to happen as far as the family being messed up over land. I think what I love to see, though, is that this family really, they love each other, but they like each other, and they want to work things out. They joke around. They want to do things to make sure the family stays together, make sure the family stays close. And I love that for them because they don't want anything to come between them and family members. So I love that. And I can really appreciate that. And so, again, that's where the episode ends. But I do want to thank you, as always, for tuning in. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments because we got more episodes to see. And I will definitely be honored if you would like and support my channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this review. And you guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.